Hello and welcome back to another video with me, Jessie. I'm going to be teaching you a morning flow, something that you can do in the morning when you've just woken up, or if you want to use it as a workout warm-up, that would work too. Just a way to get your body moving, warm up through the shoulders, the spine, the hips, the neck, and the legs, sort of a full body experience just to get you ready for your day, whatever that may hold. So we're going to jump into it in a seated position. So you can sit cross-legged is what I would recommend if that's comfortable for you. Or you can sit in a cobbler pose or butterfly with your feet together. Or you can just extend the legs out in front of you if that feels good. Basically whatever works. So taking your position, however you're choosing to sit today, grounding down through the seat, so through the hip bones, knees just gently coming out towards the sides, so letting the knees be heavy, as low as they can towards the floor. Hands can rest either palms face down or palms face up on the legs. So we're just going to take a few really nice deep breaths to start to wake up the body and get that connection with our breath cultivating. So inhale, sit up nice and tall as you do so. Crown lifts towards the ceiling, filling all the way down to the belly. And then exhaling, feeling everything contract back in. You'll sink down a little bit. And repeating that a couple more times. So deep, deep breaths, inhaling all the way down into the belly, filling the rib cage, expanding the sides of the rib cage too, filling the chest right up to the top of the throat with air, and then exhaling. So taking a really, really full, deep, full body breaths. Last time for these super deep, intentional breaths. So from here, we're going to continue to breathe. We'll allow ourselves to breathe a little bit more naturally than trying to fill up the body so much, like to capacity. So still breathe deeply, still try to expand through the belly, but we're going to start to move the arms and start to warm up through the shoulders and the upper body a little bit gently. So you can keep your eyes closed to this if you want to, or you can open them, that's fine too. So bringing your hands just down to the floor beside your hips. We'll inhale, bring the arms up beside you. Big inhale, and then exhaling, bringing the palms together and tracing them down an imaginary line all the way back to your belly button, where they'll separate and come back to the floor. So inhaling, let's take a couple more breaths like that. So it's very simple, just lifting the hands up on the inhale and letting them come down through the center as you exhale. Inhale, so you can just create this cycle where you could hypothetically do this for a few minutes. If this is something that feels really good for you, if your shoulders really need a lot of stretching and a lot of help. And exhaling, we're just going to do 3, so that is the third one there, and you can release that. So from here, I think we'll stretch through our neck first. But we're gonna, if you're sitting cross-legged like I am, which I'm gonna assume a lot of you are, you're gonna exchange the cross of your legs. So whichever leg was behind is gonna come to the front, vice versa. Okay, so it's just gonna allow one side of the hips to stretch a little deeper than the other side. So it's nice to switch part way. We're not gonna be in a seat for too much longer. We are gonna start to move around in some different positions here soon. But for the next stretches, we're going to stay seated. So inhaling and then exhaling to drop the chin down towards the chest. So we're stretching out through the back of the neck. And these muscles through the back of the neck also connect into the shoulders, which connect into the upper back. So you might feel this stretch radiating through and rippling down, not just in the neck, but in a lot of the upper body. If you're tight, if you're not particularly tight here, you might not feel much at all. Make sure you're relaxing your shoulders back and down. That's going to help to create length. And then bringing the head up. You can bring it back to the neutral start position, and then we'll take the nose up towards the ceiling. So the shoulders really want to creep forward in this one, so watch that. Make sure you're realigning them back and down as much as possible. So we're opening now down the front of the throat, and just like in the back body, this is going to connect down into some muscles of the chest and the front shoulders, kind of in and around the collarbone area. So you might feel this radiating down through, depending again where you're tight. If you're not particularly tight in your upper body, then these might just be some nice relaxing stretches that aren't too challenging, but if you're quite tight through the neck, this can be really difficult. Bringing the head back up to neutral again here. We'll start by taking the head over towards the right. So right ear is going to come down towards the right shoulder. So it's not the shoulder coming up towards the ear. It is indeed the ear that comes down towards the shoulder. So making sure shoulder stays back and down on both sides. And that's how you're creating a length through this other side of your neck here. And then up again and over to the other side. So this is a really important area of the body to stretch, and especially first thing in the morning, because often, I don't know about you, but like I sleep in all kinds of funny positions and with, sometimes the right amount of neck support, sometimes not, so can often wake up with a bit of a kink in the neck, and that doesn't feel so good. So we start off by just working out some of those kinks and then releasing the head back up to neutral. So we have one more stretch we're going to do for the neck, and it's a dynamic movement, kind of a flowy movement with the neck. So we're going to take the head back over to the shoulder. I suppose we could have just started from there, and then bring it down through center, back to the first stretch we did, and then up towards the other side. And then back through center, and over to where we started. So there's no particular breathing pattern with this. You can try to inhale as you bring the head up to one side, and exhale as you're bringing it down towards the center, but as long as you're just breathing deeply and being aware of your breath at the same time as stretching your neck, then that's fine. One more time, down and through. And then you can come back to the bottom with the chin to the chest to lift the head back up to neutral. All right, so let's get going here. We'll come onto all fours and take a child's pose, first of all. So sitting back towards your heels with your hips and taking your arms out nice and wide. Extending your chest down as you reach forward, and the hips are still sitting back. So you get this big elongation of the spine happening all the way from the hips up to the shoulders. Your forehead, you can just rest down on the floor. And really focus on sinking your chest down. We'll just take this into a side bend, so you can bring your hands one at a time over towards the right hand side of your mat. So your right hand will just move over until it's just outside of your mat. Is usually a good place to start. Your left hand can follow, coming right on top of the back of your right hand. So once you're here, you can start to sink back down again, sitting the hips back and reaching the arms forward, resting the head down, and getting a side stretch in your child's pose. So in this warm-up, the focus is really around the spine, and then the hips and shoulders by extension, because of course they're so intimately connected. But focusing on the spine, there's a couple of different ways to stretch the spine. So first is our side bends. We're going to go across the other side now, so just walking across. Left hand comes to just outside the left side of your mat, and then lowering down once the right hand is in place on top. Lowering the head down, resting so that your chest is still working its way down, your hips are still sitting back, and you're breathing as deeply as you can, and maximizing the stretch down the side of the body. Couple breaths here. And then let's move back into the center. Let's come to sit up here, and then come onto all fours. Just getting the knees right underneath of the hips, and hands underneath of the shoulders. So from here, we'll start with the next set of stretches for the spine, which is flexion and extension, which is a fancy way of saying we're going to do cat-cow. So dropping the belly down, inhaling, the chest lifts forward and the head lifts forward. And then exhale, you can round your spine up towards the ceiling as you tuck your pelvis under and press the floor away through the shoulders. Inhale, releasing and repeating that first stretch where the belly drops down, gaze lifts, chest lifts, and then release. Sending the spine up, rounding up as you exhale, so everything kind of contracts in, just like when we were taking those really full breaths before. One more time through our cat-cow. Flexing and then extending the spine. Good, and then coming to sit back towards the heels. So we're not actually going to stay in that position. You can just swing your legs out around to the side and then kick them out in front of you. Taking an inhale and sitting up super tall. You can bend in the knees, and we'll take a forward fold here. So leaning forward, hinging from the hips, and you can bend your knees in as much as you need to here until you can get a little bit of a connection between your belly and your thighs happening. You want to keep your spine nice and upright. So this is my first stretch of the day as well, so I'm still rather tight through the backs of my legs, so I'm just going to bend my knees in as much as I need to, but I still really feel a stretch in the hamstrings. Bending in the knees just makes it a little bit less intense. And then as you hang out in this forward fold with the knees bent for a little while, then you might start to play around with straightening one leg at a time, and then eventually you might play with straightening the legs all together, but it's nice to just keep them bent in, at least for the first one. So sitting up again here, we're going to take a gentle twist for the spine. So that's the last spinal stretch in the little series that we're doing for this warm-up. So in other words, we're almost finished. Bringing your left leg across to the opposite side, or rather the foot of the left leg over to the opposite side of your right knee. If you are a more advanced yoga practitioner, you have a lot of flexibility through your hips, then you might want to bend this other leg in so that your heel is right next to your left hip. But that's really just optional. I'm feeling like that's a little bit too early in the day for me to be practicing that, so I'm going to take this variation, but you choose what's right for you. Sitting up nice and tall, flexing this foot, the right foot in towards you. As we exhale, we're going to be turning towards the knee, so you can take your right arm and wrap it around that knee as you inhale to sit up, exhale to twist, and you continue on in that breathing pattern until you reach sort of your maximum twist. Inhale, exhale. You can turn your head and neck as well if that feels good for you. And then releasing forward. So you can take this leg, extend it out, Then take the right one and bring it over so the foot is crossing to the outside of the left knee. Left foot flexes in, and this time we're turning again towards the knee, but we'll be going in the opposite direction. Inhaling to sit up tall, exhaling, wrapping the arm around the knee, sitting up tall, inhale, exhaling, coming further into your twist. And you know, it's every breath that you want to work with. Every inhale and exhale, not just the first one as you enter the pose, but as you stay in the pose, you want to continue to inhale, sit up, exhale, working with your breath. Once you hit an edge where you're not able to comfortably twist any further, and of course that's where you want to stop and just hold your twist. And then releasing, sitting forward again, releasing the legs out long. So we're just going to bring the feet in. So the soles of the feet come down just by the hips. You can start to lean your weight forward. Use your hands to help you up onto your feet and come into a forward fold here. So just letting the head and neck be heavy. You can shake your head no, nod your head yes. So you notice in forward fold, I'm bending my knees quite a lot, just like when we were seated. Same thing applies when you're standing. So grabbing for opposite elbows if that feels good for your arms. Alternatively, you can just rest the hands in the back of the shins. And we'll just do a little sway from side to side here. Slowly working our way up to standing to finish off the practice. Breathing here. Not going super fast, just taking a pace that feels good for you. And stop, find some stillness in the center, and maybe pulse the legs a few times. Finding those straighter legs. A little bit of a stretch through the behind the knee area. And of course, through the hamstrings and into the hips, we'll release the arms and rise on an inhale to halfway lift. So the crown of the head is reaching towards the wall in front of you, trying to make a right angle with your body. Exhaling yourself back down. Inhale, rounding up through the spine, coming all the way up to standing. Head and neck rise up and are followed by the arms. Exhale, release. Hands come down to the sides. And we're all done for this practice for your morning or warm-up. That's been great for me. I feel a lot more open than I did when we first started. So this practice is going to be followed by a evening practice, a nice wind down, chill out, cool down type of practice. So if you wanted to, you could definitely do that after a workout. So you could sandwich your workout in between two 15-minute yoga practices, which really is the ideal situation. And of course you can bookend your day with these videos as well, which is also a really awesome way to start and finish your daily routine. So I'll be right back with another video. So bye-bye for now. We'll see you soon.